Welcome back to Dad's Fox Body Garage. Today we're going to start a new series of videos of fixing everything that we broke on the cars this year. So if you're new to the channel, when I say the cars, I'm referring to my 93 Calypso, which is up here in the rafters on the lift. She started life as a 4-cylinder automatic. And when I found her, she was sitting in the field in the weeds, didn't run, and somebody had started a V8 conversion on it. Basically, they bolted in a V8 motor into the K-member, and that was where I found it. So, a lot of work to put that all back together. I didn't have a donor car. If I would have known now what I didn't know then, probably would have bought one just from all the little pieces parts. But now she's got a different V8 in it. It's still 302, but if you watch the channel from the beginning, you'll see that a buddy of mine and I rebuilt a Explorer motor. It's got AFR heads and a YN blower on it, and now it has a T5 and an 8.8, and really rips. So ripped so much that we ripped the clutch right out of the thing. Actually just smoked the crap out of it. So this winter's project is going to be that. Before I get into that, the other car on the channel is the 89 LX50 in the back, and pretty much stock drivetrain besides lowering springs, Cobra brakes, and a 410 rear end. But that's the nice cruiser. 99% everything works. Well, say 95. The AC doesn't work, but that's one of the projects for the winter. So I'll show you what we're going to be doing this winter with the cars. So to start with, we're going to go with a new high performance Ram clutch. Good up to I think they said something around 600, 700 horsepower. So that should be fun to press down with your clutch pedal. And new mid plate, because I remember when I put mine together, it was like a potato chip, and I don't think that matters, but they were cheap and it's nice. Also going to do plugs. Same plugs are in that as when I first put it together with the AFR heads. So these are 1 degree colder of a plug, because now I put the small pulley on the blower, so I think that would be smart. New U-joints, because everything's going to be out anyways. Drive shaft loop, because I don't want the drive shaft to come up and see me inside the car. While we got everything apart, we're going to do the sleeve on the crank. New rear main, even though the rear main's kind of stopped leaking. It's going to be right there, because I am also replacing the flywheel. I have a billet flywheel to go on. And I can't remember which speedo gear is for that car and which one's for the other car, so I'm going to have to look up those part numbers. But the speedo hasn't been right in this since I put it together, so hopefully that'll take care of that. There's some little things we might get into later in the channel. I probably won't even record them, but like put the wiring harness back in for the license plate lamps, and I do have new license plate lamps. So then going on to the Stormtrooper projects. All this mess here is kind of half empty boxes, but basically we are doing a ring and pinion. We're taking the 410 out because the 410's not really happy when you get outside of town, like when you want to stretch its legs and all that. And that's the cruising car. It's not fast. I put that 410 in, I believe, when I only had that car. I don't really remember. Thinking I was going to start hot rodding that car up, but changed my mind. Everything works the way it should. It's a low mileage. I'll call it a survivor. Not perfect, but survivor, rust-free. So I got 355s to go in. I believe this is like just the differential rebuild kit from NPD. This is a leftover rebuild kit just because it has more shims in it, and might have a couple bearings. And then I have the diff cover, the chrome diff cover I actually pulled off of Colypso, because I put one of those reinforced diff covers on with the set screws. Moving on, we're going to do a thermostat as soon as I find the thermostat on Stormtrooper also, just because it hasn't been done in, I don't think, ever. And probably go with a 160. That's what we used to run back in the day instead of the 180. I do have rear control arms, and I know some people aren't a big fan of these, but I really like them. I have something similar. It's a different brand, but similar on Colypso. I don't know what brand they are. I can't remember. But it made a world of difference. They've been on the car for 2 years. I don't drive these cars a ton. The rubber may be softer. You know, some people say that the rubber's soft or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, the rubber's totally dry rotted in the Stormtrooper, so it's going to make a world of difference there. It feels like you're kind of driving a Slinky sometimes when you're going through the corners, you know. So I'm going to do that at the same time as we do the rear end. Plugs on that car as well, because those plugs are 2 years old, I think, also. Again, just some stable, you know, the old Seafoam I'm going to pour in there for winter. That one desperately needs a rear main. Again, don't think it's ever been apart. Original rear main, and leaks like a sieve. So I did get the sleeve kit also, the sleeve that goes on the crank, because like I said, the Colypso has a new seal in it, and it started leaking within months of being put together. But that could also be attributed to pressurizing the motor with a blower. Oh, and I also have a bump steer kit to put on Colypso, or Stormtrooper, because it is lowered. And it has a little bit of bump steer. It's not horrible, but it's there, so may as well do it. I would like to get the Quick Trick alignment tool and do an alignment on, well, first and foremost Colypso, because it's never been aligned since I've had it, and steering wheel's crooked and it fights its way down the road and really needs done. I don't drive the car far. Driving it to the new shop here is the farthest I think I've driven. Oh, I've driven it out to Howell before. But it tows in like crazy, so it really needs adjusted. And what else? Oh, we're gonna get, as you can see in the background here, you can probably see it on the ground. These are the doors for the shop. They're not gonna be up for a couple more weeks. I still have the original one-piece door, which I can't open when I have a car up on the lift. So I have a trackless door to go in on the lift side, and then a single car to go in over on the single car side. But we did just get a, get under the car here, we did just get a trans jack to help us with all our fun activities pulling transmissions out, because we're pulling 2 transmissions out this winter. I had most of these parts last year, if you remember, going into winter, but I didn't have a lift, and I just procrastinated long enough till I got a lift. So it'll be much easier. I don't know really how I'm going to video everything. I might do time lapse here and there, but right now, being that it is a crisp Saturday morning here in Michigan, I am going to turn on what little heat I have out here. And if you've noticed around the shop, I haven't done too many videos in the shop. I don't have it insulated yet. It's pretty much like just moved in, and I hung my heater from my other shop up here, and I have the Leg Burner 9000 down here. So that's how we're going to roll this winter. Again, not ideal, because I do have roof vents and everything ready for heating the shop. I just can only do so many things at one time with the money I have. So I'm going to shut down the camera and warm it up a bit in here and try to move these doors out of the way a little bit, and we can start getting to work. All right, guys, time for a progress report. Trans is out, as you can see over there on the floor. You know, I'm sure if you guys are Fox Body guys, you know how this goes. You know, you drop the exhaust, you take out the drive shaft, and disconnect the shifter. And I probably could have made life a little easier for myself if I would have pulled the whole shifter out. Going back in, I think I'm gonna have to do that. I don't know, I may be able to tip the motor down a little bit, but that was a bit of a trick because, you know, the shifter sticks up probably, I don't know, maybe 4 inches, right? And you got to get out of the hole through the floor and slide it out. So that was kind of a trick. Although the trans jack was a help, not the greatest quality item. Maybe it'll stop leaking down. Maybe that's just what it does, but I plan on contacting Summit for that, because as I'm like jacking it up and holding it, you know, you can see it starting to move down. Had a bit of trouble with that whole thing. Really happy I had it, but you know, the quality isn't great. I had to monkey around with the feet for 2 hours to try to get the thing to stand somewhat straight. But besides that, I'll spin you around here and show you what we got. So kind of a neat view, you know, you can see the back of the heads up there, and that's always fun because the front's all covered up. But yeah, kind of drama free. Looks like we had some kind of a leak here. I'd assume that's transmission fluid. Should probably get some new seals in that puppy before I slap it in, because she's a little slimy. Oh, one thing I did find, I want to show you. You won't believe this. So, ow. One thing about lifts. That's why I'm wearing the hat. Thanks, Brent, for the hat, by the way. One of the bolts came out, and it looked like there was like a shiny ring around the hole, and I'm like, what happened there? It was like a big chamfer on the hole, and I pulled it out. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but somebody booger welded a head back on a bolt. It's not even in concentric, and they didn't grind the welds or anything, and just rammed her home into the hole. Yeah, gonna be getting some new bolts. I think I'm gonna freshen up the bolts all the way around now that I have them out. Yeah, when I put it together, a lot of the bolts were there, and I never pulled the trans off the bell housing, to be honest. It was all on there. The trans was in the car, and I just slipped the motor down. But yeah, we're gonna keep going. I do have this. This is a really nice option on a lift, you know, having this jack. I just have it under the oil pan to keep things from banging around or drooping, you know, that's no good. But I gotta disconnect the clutch. I'm hoping I don't have to take off the headers. I'm hoping I can, you know, weasel the bell housing out of there. Just disconnected the battery so I can get the starter out. I know I can do that with the headers on because I've put it on before. Not fun, but I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll give you an update in a little bit. But yeah, she's coming along, and I don't know, I really haven't come across anything that's been overly hard to do. So all right, I'll bring you up to speed in a few minutes. All right, guys, progress has been made. Let's get under here and I'll show you what we got. Did lower the car so I can get at it, but you can see we have a leaking rear main. I am going to clean this up and make sure the pan's not leaking also. Not planning on putting it together today, but did manage to get everything apart without taking the headers off. Yeah, not the easiest job in the world. It took me about a half hour to get the right combination of extensions and swivels and everything. But this is what we have here. So here's the old flywheel. It's cast iron. Pressure plate. Don't know anything about it. It was in the car when I bought it. It has some kind of part number there. I'll try to clean it up and see what that is. But here's the clutch. I noticed, look how big these springs are compared to the new Ram clutch. I mean, this Ram, you know, it's your typical go faster type thing. Had the got a flywheel off of Marketplace, had it resurfaced. Actually got the whole clutch assembly, but I only wanted the flywheel, so I got a backup. And the pressure plate. So I'm going to steal one of these dowels though, because one of the dowels on here was incorrect. So that's what we have. I think I can look online, or if anybody knows, you know, leave me a comment. You know, is this a factory clutch? You know, it looks like there's copper in it and big old springs on it. I don't know. Regardless, it wouldn't hold the torque when I laid into it, and I don't know if this discoloration is normal. I don't know if you can see that. I should get a light and bring it over. Maybe I'll take some photos and insert them here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they feel smooth and everything, but they're definitely more of a straw color, which, you know, I know in metalworking, when steel or iron turn that straw color, and it's not oxidation, it's heat. So I'm assuming these got plenty warm, but this is what's going back in. I think I'm gonna call it a day for today. It's only 3, but I haven't eaten lunch yet, and what I want to do is I want to clean everything up on the back of the motor and just let it sit and see if I can see where the leak's coming from before I start putting in the rear main. I want to make sure the rear main is leaking, which it looks like it is. One thing I was happy about was the back of the motor. I don't know if I showed you that. It doesn't appear that the China rail's leaking. Ow! Up top here. You know, I was worried about that, and nothing. So I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit, and with some brake clean, and see if I can figure out where it's coming from before we start putting this all back together, and, you know, verify the rear main's leaking. I'm going to change it anyways. I mean, I'm right here. I'd be a fool not to. But yeah, I mean, I'd say realistically, I came out in the garage at 11, farted around, swept, moved the doors. Probably didn't start till noon. So 3 hours to get this far. That's better than I expected, to be honest. Yeah, not bad. But I'll probably catch you guys up tomorrow, and or maybe later today. Maybe I don't have to wait a whole day. Maybe I'll wait like 3 hours. We'll see. Wife's off with her friend, and they're doing girl stuff, so I've been left to my own devices here, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're back. Spent the last 2 hours cleaning stuff up. Scrubbed and power washed transmission, bell housing, and while I was cleaning stuff up, I came across something that's kind of interesting, and I want your opinion of it. So I'm going to cut the video off here and post it. And then you guys let me know what you think. I need to order some parts, so I got a few days, but I want some input from you guys. So this is in regards to the oil leak. So what I found was it appears my clip for my throw out bearing here for the shifter or the clutch fork, that's all messed up there. Came out that way. I was just cleaning it and I'm like, oh, that one side does not look like the other, right? Second thing I think I determined is I believe this clutch and pressure plate are factory. Not sure about the clutch plate, I mean the flywheel and the pressure plate, because they're both cast iron. And I think for any performance application, you're going to go with steel. So like on this clutch that I have here, the new one, that's steel, this is steel, right? So they don't explode. All right, what was the other thing I was going to show you? Oh yeah, so trying to track down this oil leak. Let's go under the car here again. And I haven't wiped this up since, well, it's been 2 hours and there's no oil here, right? I'm not saying I'm not going to change this. Well, I'm kind of on the fence. Do I want to mess with something? Because although there was oil in this area, come look at this. So this is the I don't even know what you call this little separator plate that goes in between the flywheel and the engine. Look at this oil pattern. I don't know if you can see it in the light, but it's all around the top here, and then it comes in and then it flows around here and then out the bottom. So I mean, it's really wet right here, but could it just be accumulating there? Sure. It appears this was doing some rubbing, which I knew it was kind of potato chip before, but if you see this here, zoom in on that. It appears it was doing a little more than being a potato chip. That's on the, what is that? Clutch side? Yeah. So the flywheel was rubbing on the back of that. Not a big deal, probably just made some noise, but never heard it. Well, my point is, there's a lot of oil around the perimeter here. Now, if you look up at the engine, we'll go climb back under there. Sorry for the shaky camera. Those valve covers are not leaking. Telling you right now, they are not leaking. Those are O-ring valve covers. I've always ran O-ring valve covers. But I may have an upper intake leak. And maybe that's where the oil was coming from. Maybe I blew out that China rail. Even though it appears dry to the touch, it's kind of dirty. Catch my light there. It's kind of dirty up there. Let's see if I can touch that. Yeah, but it's not wet. I don't know. Cars rarely fix themselves. So I'm looking for your opinion. Is my rear main shot? Maybe. Not likely. Is my upper intake leaking? Possibly. You know, there's a lot that goes on when you have a supercharger like the YN supercharger. All that tension on the front of it. all that tension pulling down on the front of your intake because of the blower belt. You know, anyway, I'm racking my brain about it, and I'm gonna throw it out to you guys. What do you think it is? I'm gonna order a new clutch, throw out bearing foot thing, whatever you call this thing here, because that's obviously damaged. The little prongs there are damaged, and the new clutch does come with new throwout bearings, so I don't need that. But I got a few days, and I want to see what you guys have to say. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.